Yo, Henry with Average Use Slowpitch. Today we're getting a chance to bring out the traditional axe handle. So the axe handle, not the flared version of the Endload Fury. This one's a 27 ounce that we're swinging, 13-inch barrel, half-ounce Endload. So obviously the same specs, really same color for the most part, paint job as the flared handle, but this has that traditional handle. If you're kind of interested in the difference between them other than just the look and feel, if you type in like in Google axe handle differences or axe handle versus flared handle, a graphic will come up and there's like a whole thing that talks about them a little bit as well. Hopefully if I remember to, here at the end of the video, right after the ranking of the bat, I'll put the little graphic up there just so if you want to save it at the end and have it or pause and read it, whatever, it'll be there for you. But either way, we're going to go ahead and throw this thing on the tester real fast. 52s like normal, Pro M's, final compression, final thoughts. Today, we're going to be between 70 and 75 all day. It says 72 on the app. I'm sure it's about right. But either way, it feels great out here for the most part. Honestly, feels a little warm with whenever the breeze dies down. But we have about 3 to 5 mile per hour, so it's variable winds with occasional small gusts blowing kind of most of the time right now into that corner of right field. So perfect kind of day to hit. Either way, let's get some swings on this, see how it performs, come back, final compression, final thoughts. All right, let's see where our traditional handle axe Endload is at. Again, if you're not familiar with traditional handle, if you just Google flared versus, I think it's flared versus axe handle, there's actually, it pops up with a really good graphic that kind of shows you the difference, talks about how, when to use them, stuff like that. But anyways, with this one, 13-inch barrel again. And we're sitting about 260, probably, maybe slightly over. Either way, kind of what's to be expected. I think the highest we've seen is like closer to 275 with the 12-inch, and then pretty much all the 13s have been around here. So pretty much what we expected. We'll go with our normal 52s, Pro M's, final compression, final thoughts. All right, Axe Fury, like we talked about, we're going with the 52s. Again, I mean, these are USSSA bats. We swing the 52s, one, help kind of break these bats in, open the fibers up, but also we know the Canadian viewers that watch it, we've talked to a lot of them, they swing 52s up north. I know their balls are a little different than ours. We're actually working on trying to grab 6-ish dozen of the same balls or the most commonly used ball up north so we can see that as well. But anyways, for that, some leagues make you use USSSA bats with those as well. So that's kind of the initial point here, why we do that for anyone who's maybe kind of new to the channel, haven't watched the videos or didn't know that's why we're doing that. The Furies for us, we'll see how this one performs. This year, I feel like they've been a slight drop off in 52 performance, which, oh well, it's a USSSA bat. The reason they have a dual stamp, which is absolute gas, that's what I would go with anyways if I had to swing ASA balls with a USSSA bat, because you get the best of both worlds. But either way, let's see how this bat performs for us, then we'll swap over to the Pro M's, which is probably the reason a lot of you are tuning in, obviously.
101 miles per hour. 91 miles per hour.
91 and I missed it.
95 miles per hour.
Handle, or I shouldn't say handle, low on the barrel.
92 miles per hour. 99 miles per hour.
Yeah, that one came off good, and I'll tell you, from the feel, that was definitely higher up. I think I caught it close to the axe symbol, but that's the nice part, though, if you're swinging the 52s, is you get that stiff feel with good performance when you kind of miss the spot you want. So not really a huge concern there.
89 miles per hour. 86 miles per hour. 98 miles per hour.
And that was sweet spot or close to it. But yeah, I mean, that's going to do it for the 52s. Again, we don't need a whole bunch on these ones. That was about 30 swings from the two of us. Like I've already talked about it, it performs well. You just got to understand your feedback on it. Either way, let's swap over to the Pro M's, what obviously the bat's really designed for, and see how this performs. I imagine pretty much exactly the same as the flared handle model. And I'll talk a little bit in the final thoughts about the difference in the two of these handles, and at least for me, how it changes my swing with them and then the overall feel. All right, here we go. Pro M's, let's see how this thing does.
93 miles per hour.
Yep, there's the axe carry, but again, for me, I gotta be real deliberate to make sure I don't roll my wrist wrong and make the wrong connection with that ball. Otherwise I get a little under it with the axe handles, and that's where that little carry came from, because I was trying to hit that a little bit more on the line, to be honest.
107 miles per hour.
Like that. That's what I was trying to do right there.
98 miles per hour. 100 miles per hour.
Okay. Okay.
92 miles per hour. 104 miles per hour.
Well, there's every bit of the sweet spot. Thank goodness it was between all the cars.
96 miles per hour. 99 miles per hour.
Yeah, the balls kept going inside. Probably shouldn't have swung all hands, but still came off good.
100 miles per hour.
Hundo. About time.
106 miles per hour. 99 miles per hour. 109 miles per hour.
That felt like the sweet spot, and it was the sweet spot, and it felt great.
111 miles per hour.
Okay, there's every bit of the sweet spot. So when you catch the no kidding sweet spot, it is a perfect mix between trampoline, crispness, and you know it, if you caught it just right. I think it's just with the longer barrel, there's so much barrel there, and the axe is so forgiving that that real crisp spot is real centered up, and then you quickly get away from that, which doesn't really matter because of how forgiving it is.
92 miles per hour.
There we go. Still not the parking lot, but it's probably one of the more forgiving ones. I think axe in general is just super forgiving, no matter which one it is. I mean, up and down the barrel, you get good exit velocities, good carry. I mean, some of the ones that I swung at up here still went out, and I mean, swinging straight up at them. So, yeah, overall, good bet. I still have to get used to the knob because it's real uncomfortable coming from someone who swings mostly, well, pretty much all regular knobs.
104 miles per hour.
Look, I told you it would have heat seeked right at him. Thank goodness we waited for him to leave. She might have taken that ball left and brought it to the cops.
102 miles
We're
per
done.
hour.
We're definitely done. Yeah, I mean, there you have it, right? Axe Fury, 13-inch end load. Again, the real only difference we saw from this one to the 13-inch flared, purely the handle. Like I said, I'll talk about that more in the final thoughts. We'll take this back to the house. Final compression, final thoughts. All right, let's see where our 13-inch end loaded traditional handle axe is testing at. If I remember correctly, it started 260-ish, which I think is pretty, or 255. Pretty spot on with what we've seen from the longer barrel axes this year, the Furies. And okay. Yeah, and what we've really seen from all the axes in that first 100 swings for sure, the compressions really don't move. The one piece sat dead on 275. The 12-inch, we got it from Chef at 120, 150 swings, was still at 275. So it's nice to see the axes holding up. We'll talk about more in the final thoughts. Not going to get a scale weight on this one because of the end cap piece, but from what I can tell from doing some kind of testing with them, they're all pretty darn close to sticker weight. All right, that's going to wrap it up for our 13-inch end loaded half-ounce Axe Fury. Again, the traditional handle axe there as well. And I'll have a graphic up for you here at the end, just after the ranking, with kind of the picture that talks about the axe handle versus the flared handle. But with that being said, not a whole lot to say on this one. Very, very similar to, nearly identical, I should say, to the actual 13 end load flared handle. To me during the video, and I think I mentioned it during it as well, this barrel to me felt like maybe it was a little bit softer, or trampoline more. I don't know exactly the right term there, but with the no kidding sweet spot at times. However, I went back, watched the 13-inch video from this one that we did with like Steve Robbs, Jordan Spalding, all those guys from I-57. And in the end, they performed nearly identical. So the biggest thing on this one is, if you're somebody who either you know you like the axe handle, you want to give the traditional handle a try, whatever it might be, this is obviously the one to go with as far as that goes. If you want the flared, grab the same model in the flared. But either way, not going to go super in depth on this one because again, we already had a video on the 13 end load, and it's pretty similar with all the Furies. Good sweet spot, lots of carry, tons of forgiveness. Bat's holding compression just fine. As you saw, it barely moved. We're about 100 swings in, 60 to 70 Pro Ms, 30-ish 52s. Definitely a just kind of average above average type of 52 performance. as far as once you get to that feedback piece. Obviously the carry, the forgiveness, it's still up there, but there are definitely better options. However, if you're going to primarily play USSSA and then maybe you have an ASA league, this is still a very good option. Any of the Furies are, that you can at least use them out there. You're going to get the performance you want. Might not be the most ideal feedback, but the bat performs well, and you'll get more and more used to it the more you use it. And then when you swap over to USSSA, you're going to see the absolute difference, obviously, as you swap over there in the performance piece. And I think Keith even mentioned after like his first or second swing, he's like, well, we're definitely at USSSA balls, was piecing the ball up. Again, super easy to find the sweet spot, and even when you miss it, you're going to get that forgiveness to where you're like, man, you're going to feel probably bad about your swing. It happens to me all the time when I don't catch it just right, but then it carries, gets in the gap, whatever it is, and obviously helps create that success that you want on the field. So with that being said, this is available over on headbangersports.com, discount code ADS. It's also available on axbat.com. Discount code for that one be I57. That helps support the I57 Axe Bat AA team that they're now sponsoring this year. Hopefully you saw the video we did with the 12-inch, 13-inch Endload balance with Jordan Spalding, center fielder for I57 this year. Steve Robbs, coach for them as well. Conference coach of the year last year in 2024. But that's who obviously you're kind of supporting if you go over there, use the I57 code for those guys. But excited to see what those guys do with these bats this year. Again, these Furies are some of the top bats out, in my personal opinion, between kind of the overall just sweet spot, feedback, forgiveness, all that kind of stuff. And now that they seem to be holding, I mean, not that they were having issues with it last year, but they're holding compression really, really well. I think you can get a lot of swings out of these if you take care of them, and especially as it kind of warms up. But with that being said, hopefully it's helped you decide with whether or not maybe you want to grab this model with traditional handle, maybe you want to go with the flared, different model, whatever it is, different brand. Either way, thanks for tuning into the video. Thanks for checking out. Thanks for support. Have a great day.